Survival has become particularly challenging for Afghans with harsh winter knocking at the door. They have already been suffering due to widespread unemployment, little or no access to healthcare, medicine and food. And now the chilling winter is depriving them of even the little they have had. Let's take you to a story from Bamyan province where the women are battling it out every single day to keep the hope alive of surviving the harshest period they have witnessed in at least 2 decades, which is since the Taliban takeover in August this year.
35-year-old Razia, who collects leaves and branches in autumn to her home in a cave in central province of Bamyan, is worried as to how she will manage food and other essentials in the freezing temperature. Food was scarce for the past few months, but it seems to be disappearing altogether from Razia's life. Stories like Razia's are increasingly common in a country struck by severe drought and where money has run dry. Before the Taliban toppled the Western-backed government in August, the economy relied heavily on foreign aid. But with the international community wary of the Islamist militant movement and the United States imposing sanctions on some of its leaders, that support has all but disappeared.
کاروبار شاورما یالی نیه دیگه فعلا کاروبار نیه دیگه هم تر نماره بازار باری نیه دیگه هم تر سودا پرخت نیه دیگه از دکان یک بوجی بری اینجا یک چیز رو یک بار انتقال میده کدام روز 50 روپیه کار میکنه کدام روز نمیکنه کاروبار نیه مثال
و همیشه تو راست
زمستان همیشه هم تره که زمستان بخیج نیه کاروبار از پیش بازم غلیمت تر بدیم زمستان کارت نیه.
The United Nations estimates nearly 23 million Afghans, about 55% of the population, are facing extreme levels of hunger, with nearly 9 million at risk of famine as winter takes hold. Life for Afghans poor has always been hard, but it is getting worse. 57-year-old Kubra is trying to find fuel to heat the single room she shares with 8 family members. The family normally lives on potatoes and a plain rice dish called shola, but the food is running short. Vegetables are now out of reach. Bamyan is best known outside Afghanistan for imposing Buddhist sites which dominate the Lil market town 20 years after the Taliban blew up the 2 giant statues that once looked down over the high plains. In winter, it is bitterly cold with temperatures that can drop below freezing and biting winds. Work slows in the cold months, but the region was already suffering since the visitors who once came for the Buddhist sites and the nearby Bande Amir Lake disappeared as the Taliban offensive reached its climax. Taliban officials say they are aware of the problems facing the poor, which they say stem partly from the effects of more than 4 decades of conflict and management under the previous government. They also have repeatedly called on Washington to unblock around $9 billion in central bank assets. And this is not the only problem that women face today in Afghanistan. Their lives that had seen hope and freedom in the previous government have been snatched away. For the past 3 months, girls over the age of 12 have been prohibited from attending school, and segregation of women and men in universities is negatively impacting women's opportunities in post-secondary institutions. Now, the recent diktat has even asked them to not travel beyond a certain distance without a male accomplice. In such times, can anybody even imagine a further decline in the situation? If not, then just wait for the Taliban's own version of liberalizing Afghan society. which essentially comes down to imposing more and more curbs on women.